I do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Doug Brunke. I am the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. It is more important than ever for us to do global business. The world sometimes seems, especially if you watch the news, that it's a little bit fraying around the edges and pieces are kind of coming apart. And what keeps us together as a world? Well, certainly one of them is trade. When there's trade across borders, less soldiers are required. And so why not continue what we're doing? Why not be more successful at it? And maybe we can make a little bit more positive impact to keep this world together. A League of Opportunities is where you are at Global Chamber. This is an event that we spotlight key members of Global Chamber, whether they have new ideas, new thoughts, new opportunities that the global tribe should know about. Cesar, how long have we asked them to speak, and what kind of format will we be having today?
Thank you, Doug, and hello, everyone. We asked them to speak 5 minutes, so they have 5 minutes for Q&As. That's the formula.
Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, and we only have about 50 minutes. So we'll probably have to kind of narrow that down to about 4.5 for that. And definitely, if you can, rather than speak the whole time, leave some time for questions. It's fun to interact, and people always have some really great questions. So really appreciate it. Let's start with Karina Sutnick, because we were speaking with Karina. Cesar and I and the team kind of joke that Karina and her team are like the easiest in the world to introduce to different people because of their work, and she'll explain a little bit more. I think what we recognized in the call the other day is right now they have some specific need, they have a specific opportunity for companies to become involved, and so we asked Karina to kick us off and talk a little bit about what that need is. Karina, where are you zooming in from today, and what would you like to speak about?
I'm zooming in from snowy Philadelphia. The snow is accumulating and it's beautiful, but it also means that everything in the city is shut down. But thank you so much, Doug and Cesar, for this opportunity. It's morning here. It's probably evening elsewhere. So I will probably take less than 5 minutes. I want to briefly discuss my company, World Upstart. We're a women-led company that helps international companies around the world in healthcare, in medical devices, life sciences, digital health to come to a US market. So we know statistically that only 1 in 5 companies succeeds in the United States. It's challenging. Everyone wants to be in the US. US represents usually about 60% of the market for the companies coming from elsewhere. And we found that through our program, we're literally doubling the odds of companies succeeding in the US. How do we do it? We have a hybrid accelerator. It's a 6 weeks online and then 2 days in person in the US. And what we cover for companies coming here is all the legal aspects of incorporation, especially from the point of view of investors, how the relationship between their company, let's say in Norway and here, or in South Africa and here. We cover US healthcare, reimbursement, regulatory, how do you sell to hospitals, what's the procurement process. We cover all things operational, taxation, accounting, banking, site selection, and HR, and then we cover fundraising. So we also have 28 amazing mentors from the industry that work one-on-one with our companies. Here is what our accelerator have done in terms of impact. In the last 3 years, we graduated 64 companies from 18 countries across Canada, Europe, and Asia. Of those 64, 25 are now in the United States and growing. That's an incredible conversion. That's why we can say that we're doubling the odds of companies coming here. 8 are already FDA approved. That's just in the last 3 years. These are some of the testimonials that we got from companies. I really like the one from Alison Sunset from Holocare in Norway. She said if she connected with us sooner, we would have helped a lot of her sleepless nights right? That's basically what we do, right? We provide for CEOs the checklist of what they really need to understand in order to be successful here. And in addition to checklist and the expertise, we provide them with the right connections and mentoring. You can find information on our website, on our mentors, clients, and partners. But here is just a little snapshot. These are the investment companies that we're partnering with. These are the academic institutions that we're partnering with. That includes the Wistar Cancer Institute and the University of Pennsylvania and Jefferson Hospital and so on. And this are just a snapshot of few companies that we helped that are already in United States. So that was really quick, and thank you for listening. I will put the website here. What we're looking for, partnerships with companies or governments or economic development agencies that want to partner with us, especially in different states, because we know that our companies go to where they can be successful, not necessarily to Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. And so we're looking for connections in the states that want to have attraction of international business. We only work with companies that already have traction in their own countries, so they come prepared to, rent offices, lab spaces, hire people, pay taxes. We vet all the companies and we prep them really well for US market. So that's in a nutshell what we do.
Now, how many companies a year and from which regions of the world? And then tell us a little bit more about the sponsorship opportunity.
Yes, so we bring in between 20 to 25 companies a year. That's a very healthy pipeline. Our cohorts are about 10, 11 companies, and we run about 2 to 3 cohorts a year. Companies come from Canada, Europe, Korea, Japan, Australia. Unfortunately, we're yet to have companies from South America or Africa, but we're trying to break into those regions as well. We have partnerships with healthcare clusters all around the world. What was the last question? Oh, the sponsorship. So we have sponsorship opportunities where let's say law firms or accounting firms can partner with us and offer expertise and sponsor specific cohorts. But most importantly, we're looking for less of a sponsorship, but more of a true partnership, especially with the states. If the states want to partner with us, then we can talk about how we can bring steady stream of companies to them, and they can be our strategic and exclusive partner, for example. And that's a different conversation that we're looking for.
Is there any limitation on what that region would be?
No, absolutely no limitation. Our companies go, if they're from Asia, they might look at the West Coast, but most European companies look at the East Coast. They go to where clinical trials are, where state support is, where investors are, right? We love our region and we love Philadelphia. We bring them here to introduce them to people, but then at the end, they go to where they can be successful. So we're preparing them for the entire US market.
I love Philadelphia too. As an ex-DuPonter,
I
have
know.
a strong affinity for Philadelphia and cheesesteaks, and I'm a Pats guy, and there's also some alternatives as well. What questions do people have, please? We have about 4 minutes for questions. Just unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, Karina.
Quick
This is Mitch from, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mitch. Go ahead.
Hi, Mitchell.
Hi there. Hello, everybody. I have a quick question for your medical device clients that you mentioned. Do you do FDA registrations or do you third party that?
So we bring in experts then that can help them understand the roadmap to FDA, and then we connect companies to those experts, and they might subcontract those experts to do FDA registration. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I see Philip Auerbach, your neighbor in Philadelphia there.
I know Philip really well. Philip did a profile on us. Thank you, Philip.
I saw an email from Zach. We'll get you connected for sure. He does sales in that space, and so that's going to be a really good fit. What other questions do we have?
I have a
Anita had a
question.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Anita.
Is there, hi, thanks. So interesting what you do. I want to connect with you afterwards, but have you seen a particular type of company or a particular focus within the companies you tend to work with that thrive more than others, or that you enjoy working with more than others?
So we have companies in pharmaceuticals, in medical devices, in digital health. And, you would think that digital health companies have an easier way to break into US market because, they don't need 7 years to go through, clinical trials, maybe to get FDA approval. However, it's a very saturated market. Everyone wants to be here. And to convince hospitals to buy their product is as difficult as for, pharma companies to go through the commercialization road. So I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint which one is easier. I love breakthrough technologies. I can tell you, for example, one company that we just had in our previous cohort, we're about to start new cohort with 11 companies in 2 weeks.
Wow.
But in our previous cohort, we had a French company called Latisse that does breast implants for women after mastectomy. And what they do, they have implants that allow you to grow back your own fat tissues. Essentially, you grow back your own breast. And that's like, these are breakthrough technologies that are mind-boggling, and I love working with people like that. And they're already in clinical trials in France and Spain, and they're coming here, they're raising Series B. So when I say that we bring in serious companies, we do bring in serious companies. And some of them are just absolutely spectacular in terms of technologies.
Thanks. Amazing.
Yeah.
One time for one more question. I think I heard somebody asking.
Yes, Karina, this is Pankaj. I live
Hi.
in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hi.
So you are connected with, I'll connect with you with the help of Cesar. We are a global investment banker, venture capitalist. If anyone, you or your partner, anywhere in the whole world looking for funding, we can help funding. Without money, you can do anything.
Everyone is looking for funding.
So if anyone is looking for funding,
Everyone is looking for funding.
So reach out to Cesar. Cesar will connect with us. Then we can help funding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, in Karina's case, what they found is a great model is to find economic development or regional leaders who are interested in potentially having these companies land in their region. So I think Maryland and Virginia are two really ideal ones. And I think we talked about that the other day. And then another person, Tatiana Conzavelli, I think we made that introduction, but we can do that reintroduction. She is aware of some folks that may be able to help as well. And then there's an Austin group. Austin is an interesting one because of the medical side. And you mentioned about some things that would either Boston or Austin as opportunities. So does anybody else have any connections to economic development groups that might be able to be interested in this?
Doug, Frederick here with the state of Montana. So interestingly enough, I'll give you one tidbit that we are very much involved in this. The largest NIH biosafety level 4 facility is not in Bethesda. It's in Montana. So
Wow.
Hamilton, Montana. So anyway,
Get at it.
Yeah.
Seriously? Wow. Montana continues to surprise. But how much snow is on the ground? Or did the temperature get above zero yet?
Yeah, we're in a heat wave. I think it hit 0. Yeah.
You can still do work inside. Modern technology allows us to work inside and that all work. And then you can go outside when you want to. So Montana is amazing. So Frederick, thank you for sharing that. Frederick has an expertise in Arizona, in California, and Montana, and now he's working for the state of Montana. Thank you for sharing.
Great. Thank you, Frederick. I just put my email address here. Would love to connect with all of you. And again, thank you, Doug and Cesar. I think I fit right within our allocated time.
Perfect. You're absolutely correct. So let's move on now to Sunny Vu. He's the leader at HSP Group. Sunny and HSP help companies with international operations and expand globally. Sounds familiar? I think most of us are involved with that, and let's continue the success. Sonny and his team do some amazing work. So Sonny, could you share a little bit more about what you're doing and how we can help, and also any opportunities that you've got?
Absolutely. Thanks, Doug. And I felt like you gave my whole presentation away already, but I try my best. Got it. Anyway, so at HSP Group, we help, like Doug said, help company expand globally on the operational side. So let's imagine, so in over 100 different countries, we can help setting up an entity, manage it. We can also help with global payroll, HR support, and legal compliance. So we also have employer of record, so EOR services as well, and we also facilitate a lot of cross-border M&A transaction, because you can imagine one country buying another from a different country, trying to transfer the employees over. We help with that. So even though that sounds like a lot, and we do really help companies from ground zero up on the operational side, we don't really have a whole lot of expertise on like what Karina does on the market entry side and the initiative side. So things like that, we normally rely a lot on our partners that we collaborated with. So if that's any of your expertise or any of the professionals out here, I would love to connect after the meetings. But technically, yeah, like Doug mentioned, we help companies on the operational side with global expansion in 100+ countries. We've helped, I think we don't really have a niche profile that we target. Any organization with a global expansion needs, we tend to be interested in what they offer. And I think what we really specialize in is that we don't really have an agenda on what kind of services we offer. So let's say a company comes to us and they have a specific need in certain countries, then we'll build a specific package for what kind of stuff and what kind of solution that they need to get set up over there. So pretty much like a seamless hand-holding partner, you must say. That's what HSP Group does. So that's pretty much it about our company. I think Cesar was asking me to share like any specific opportunity that we have seen in the past year regarding to like global expansion. And one of the things that we have seen is, I don't know how familiar you guys are with employer of record, so EOR. A lot of companies, when they expand globally, they're trying to utilize their model of EOR to try to avoid costs of establishing like a whole entity, setting up everything in a new country. However, we have found that if you have like more than 10 people under EOR in a countries, the cost almost double than you just setting up everything there and run everything in-house. So recently, in the past year, in 2023, we call it like EOR graduate. So a lot of companies come to us and they felt like their cost of paying under EOR has like surpassed what they were expecting. So we help them set up and transition away from EOR and cut their cost to almost like half. So that's one of the trends that we have been seeing under EOR, because I felt like EOR has been such a big model recently that people don't really understand the implication behind it. So that's pretty much it on our part. I think if I'm open to question and connection, if you guys have any. Thank you.
Fantastic. One quick clarification. Are you looking for U.S. companies going overseas or international companies coming into the U.S., or does even the U.S. need to be in the equation?
Great question. So I forgot to mention that. So we work with a lot of U.S. outbound countries, but however, within the 100 countries that we service, you can come from Australia to the U.S., or South America countries to the US, or anywhere in Europe to Asia. We can facilitate any direction. But our most experienced area is probably US outbound, and also with European countries, companies trying to expand elsewhere. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Open for questions. What questions do people have, please?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes, Rosie. Great to see you. You're going to be talking here in a moment.
Yes,
Welcome.
yes. I don't know if I understood what you said, Sonny, about the trend for EORs. Is it that people are using more EOR services, or they're opening their own entities? What was the trend that you were explaining?
Yeah, of course. So let me clarify. So what we call it internally at HSP Group, we call it EOR graduate. So, because a lot of companies want to test out a market, they want to hire like 1 or 2 employees first, then EOR will be a perfect model because that's like you're using a third party to hire all these individuals for you in that country, correct? But later on, let's say if they grow more to like 5 employees to like 10 employees, then the cost then for them to stay under EOR model, like almost double. Them just setting up an entity in that countries, run the payroll in-house and do all the HR stuff. So that's how we have found a lot of companies who started, let's say with EOR 2-3 years ago, and now they have grown exponentially in that country that they want looking to transition away from EOR. So we help them graduate from EOR. So I hope that clarified the question.
Yeah, it does. The reason I was asking is because I worked for remote for the last 2.5 a big EOR, and we said the opposite. It was like, as you grow, it's more cost effective or efficient to stay with EOR. But I know where you're coming from because it also depends on the jurisdiction and the countries and the complexity of the jurisdictions. It'll be more or less costly to stay or walk away from EOR and do your own entity and incorporation in a country. So that's interesting.
Of course, and we'd love to connect on your experience with remote after this as well, because we do work with a lot of EOR partners on their, like people exploring options outside of EOR. We kind of come in a lot of the time, and not just on the cost side, but like permanent establishment. When you're in a country for so long under EOR, the country start kind of knocking on your door and be like, maybe there's tax implication that you are kind of exploiting here that we might need you to get more official. So that's a PE risk a lot of the time that under EOR that people are not aware of.
Thank you very much. Time for one more question. Please go ahead.
I have a quick question. Are you tied in with different insurance providers, health insurance providers in the different countries, or are you able to advise them? I know it's different from every country. Some countries are, Canada and Spain, etc. They have social, medicine. Here in the US, it's every man for himself. So are you tied into different health insurance companies?
Yes, great question. So we, on the benefit side, definitely we work with different partners that provide those, because like you mentioned, in every country is different. For example, in the UK, there's like a whole pension thing that we have to work with all the providers to help it navigate those waters. But yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Where are you based and where is the company based? What are the main base points?
So we have an office here in Tampa, Florida. So that's where I'm based, but we also have a big office in Barcelona. And we have people working from the Philippines. So our workforce is super global.
Fantastic. How much snow is on the ground there in Tampa?
Absolutely 0, but it's getting to the 30s this weekend, which we never see.
Yeah,
almost.
It's been cold here in the south, hasn't it? Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Please put your information in the chat area, and great services. I love what you do because it's way more than EOR, as you explained. There's a lot of different services wrapped up around that, and you've got flexibility as the company grows. So check out HSB Group and check in with Sunny and connect by LinkedIn. As far as the next steps overall, we're going to wrap up at the top of the hour, and then we have part 2 of the League of Opportunities. We've never done a part 2. It's in 8 hours so that we can capture next day in Asia. So jump in now 7.5 hours for that. We've got another group of amazing speakers that are speaking. You'll also see a LinkedIn post on this event here today, so feel free to connect up with anyone in this meeting or any global chamber meeting. If you're a member and you're not able to connect, either send us an email, send us a WhatsApp, send us send us Pony Express mail, whatever's required to get us to make the introduction. You never can go without an introduction. Always please reach out. Rosie, you already began to introduce yourself by just asking a great question. Rosie Lopez, we worked with when she was with Remote, and now we're working with her with Athenian. They centralize entity, subsidiary, and business data in one place. I love the way you make it easy for companies, and you've got specific companies that you help. Could you go through your opportunity, please? Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you all for having us. Today, I'm joined by Tina Grubisa. She's also on the call. And we are both subject matter experts at Athenian. I am the subject matter expert for companies or prospects and customers in the global operations side. And Tina is for customers and prospects in the funds asset management side. And we're very excited to introduce you to our company, Athenian, and our great product. Tina.
Very nice to meet you all, and we're very excited to be here today. Thanks for the quick intro, Rosie. Here at Athenian, we're the most funded and largest next generation management platform, and we currently have over 500,000 legal entities being managed on our software.
And this is an overview of the type of customers across different industries that work with us. And just to recap on what was said by Karina and Sunny, we work with companies that decide to work with companies like World's Upstart or HSP Group to set up a footprint globally. And then they find themselves in having the good problem of having all these legal entities that they need to manage worldwide.
So we want to connect with potential customers, and that's why we're here today. And these are companies that usually have corporate structures of 50 legal entities or more, have legal entities in at least 5 countries, and either operate in highly regulated industries. This is very common, but it doesn't have to be the case. It's usually companies that are in health, technology, manufacturing, real estate, private equity, and other asset management classes. It's also a target to have international corporate secretary legal operations or any subsidiary management functions. That is a bonus for us. And our ideal prospect or our ideal customer are companies that already have a platform to manage their legal entities, but are experiencing some frustrations or some major pain points. So with this entity management technology, it's usually because it's outdated or underpowered. And some of our competitors include Diligent, Gems, and MinuteBox. I'm sure many of you have heard those names before.
So how does our technology help? So Athenian helps by being the single source of truth for all corporate and legal entities' data. We help the companies accelerate their work for legal and business teams by replacing spreadsheets, emails, with a more collaborative platform focused on having org chart structures, governance documents, DocuSign integration, compliance calendars and reminders, cap tables, directors and officers logs, KYC records, UBO compliance, registry certificates, etc. So a platform also allows read-only access for employees to protect information. It also has logging and edit access for external service providers. Like, for example, HSP Group, if you're working with a company, helping them with their legal compliance in a particular country, if they work with Athenian, they can give you update other company records for that particular legal entity in real time. And we also provide different levels of security and permissions that strict or limit access to protect confidentiality at different levels of the organization.
So we like to think about our value in 2 different aspects, one being quantitative and the other qualitative. So some of the value that we bring from that quantitative perspective is that we help companies increase their revenue. And this is because companies can transact faster with their solution, and it helps them have central information that they would require, and that's immediate for these business needs. It also helps them save money because it controls or reduces the governance spend with outside counsel, and it protects the revenue of our clients by reducing investment and operations risk exposure. On the other lens, we have the qualitative side, and Athenian helps increase confidence through data that the company is using to make better decisions. It becomes organized and accessible to everyone. It's accurate, and it provides or enhances closer collaboration across various teams. And these teams might be legal, tax, finance, and it relieves frustration because it reduces time doing various research or chasing external lawyers or any other data bottlenecks.
So how can the global tribe help? We think that we want to reach out to companies that match our ideal customer profile, whether are companies that have a lot of legal entities because of their global presence or because of the amount of entities they manage as part of their asset management business model. We want to, we want you to please find out if your legal tax teams are working with a system like ours, or if they are in the need for one and are interested in our modern solution. And as an opportunity, if you work with customers that would match our ideal customer profile, you can reach out, because we do have a referral partnership program. And our partnership program is very young. So right now it's very flexible, and we are working with potential partners to shape this program based on mutual goals. So companies like you, HSP Group, Sunny and Karina, please reach out so we can also find synergies on how to work together, so your customers can also benefit from our technology. And that's our presentation.
Fantastic. Welcome. Great information. What questions do people have, please? We have time for 1 or 2 questions.
Yeah, I have a question. So if they aren't using your service, what are these companies doing right now? Just if it comes up, I'm digging around asking what they're using. Generally, what is a client with all these entities? What are they doing? Are they doing it all in-house themselves, or are they using like a competitor?
Exactly that. It's either they're coming off of a legacy system, or they're currently managing their entities on a spreadsheet like Excel. It's actually quite simple. The reason I come in with the private equity and fund
Recording in progress.
is because this market is currently undisrupted. So we have a new technology that makes all of these entity information accessible. So either they're coming off of a legacy system, which hasn't been updated in the last 20 years, or they're coming off of spreadsheets, which is very much a manual process.
Like Excel. So literally they're using like an Excel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's
Right.
room for error there. So
Yeah.
that's where we come in.
And to add to
prayer.
that, sometimes the information is not even on an Excel sheet. Sometimes it's scattered and living with all the service providers they have in different countries. So every time they need information from an entity in a particular country, they reach out to their local corporate secretary or law firm to obtain the information.
Great question. And Philip, thank you and welcome to Global Chamber. Could you just give 30 seconds on what you do, please?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, I'm a new member, so I appreciate it. I do payments. So anything that involves receivables, that's what I do. To simplify it, think of Stripe and PayPal. That's what I do. But on a local level here in the US, most companies don't need all the bells and whistles of what like a Stripe does. They just need a simple payment processor. So any company that's maybe setting up an entity in the US, I work with a lot of banks. Banks, for the most part, don't do anything on the receivables. They outsource it. Use companies like me. We do about 4 billion in processing a year. So anyone that's looking to transaction credit cards, that's going to work with credit cards, receive credit cards as a business in B2C or B2B environment. That's what I do. So thanks, Doug.
It was great to meet you at the Global Chamber Los Angeles holiday party. Anita and I met you there. So thank you. And thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Please, thank you so much, both to Rosie and Tina. And I think I've already seen your information in the chat area. So please continue to do that, all of you, and of course, Tina and Rosie as well. Great presentation, great opportunity for companies to put order into their life, and order often and usually is a good thing. Let's now go to Beatrice. Beatrice is in Brazil, and she has a very specific, very interesting offering that she provides. And being a chemical engineer, I'm in particular of interest to this. Please go ahead, Beatrice, show us more, and how can we help?
Okay, can you listen to me, okay?
We can.
Perfect. As a difference with all of you guys, I'm in Brazil, so we are in summer. The weather is really nice here. So you are welcome whenever you want. Are you seeing my presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to talk today about BMRB Consulting. That is focused on quality assurance, innovation, and coaching. Our company provides services on viable solutions in quality assurance, industrial microbiology, open innovation, and coaching. Our target are small, mid-sized manufacturers, and it's based on more than 30 years of experience, both in academy and industrial settings, supporting cosmetics, hygiene, pharma, and household products. We want to connect with third-party manufacturing, with companies or laboratories that need to comply with good manufacturing practices. So
Uh-oh. Is that just me, or is everybody else?
No, it's everybody else. I thought it was my internet, but I think it's hers.
I think it's
Okay.
Beatrice.
Okay, so Beatrice, you're locked up. Give her a couple more seconds and see if it can save itself. No, she might have dumped out of the room, actually. Or I don't see her. So let's keep going, and then we'll come back to Beatrice. Mitchell, could you go next? Mitchell Torton. Mitchell, it's interesting how all of these companies kind of fit in, I think, very naturally. Mitchell is with Washington Consular Services, and you'll see that the documentation that they provide for manufacturers that Beatrice was just speaking about is a great fit. Mitchell, could you go next, and then we'll catch up with Beatrice when she comes back?
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, excellent. I'm calling in from semi-blizzard conditions in suburbs of Washington, D.C. And I'm working on a handhold. I've been separated from my fully loaded laptop today. So I will do a verbal presentation on the products and on the services we provide. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention right off the bat that we have extended a discount for our services, which I'll explain shortly, to members of the Global Chamber. And Doug and Cesar have been kind enough to distribute a link to that discount, to the online ordering of that discount. And so please let us know if you haven't received it or need it again, or have any questions about that. So what we do is a very narrow niche, a very specialized niche of regulatory affairs, and that is authenticating documents needed for export of products, needed for manufacture of products in countries around the globe, needed for assigning representatives, assignment of attorneys, LOAs, and so forth. So any document that needs to be authenticated by the official governing body in the country where it originates, we handle that. We authenticate that document for you, and we make sure it gets to its final destination. Our world is divided basically into two camps. One is called apostille, a very nice little French word, and the other is called legalizations. And apostille is for all the countries that have signed and ratified the Apostille Treaty, which was drafted in The Hague in the Netherlands in 1961. And that permits a streamlined process, provides more speed to market and less steps, less time taken, less money spent on having your documents authenticated. The other is called legalization, and that is for when the destination country of the document has not ratified that treaty. And then there is the old-fashioned way, which includes the step of having the document stamped by the embassy of the country that the product or service is going to. The stamps are very lovely. They're embossed, and they remind you of times past, but it is an extra step. And the big news in our industry, and it's very big news, is that two of the largest countries that were holdouts for all these many decades and were not participating in the streamlined apostille process have now ratified the treaty and have the streamlined process, those being none other than China and Canada. So that's huge for many of our customers. Most of our customers are in the pharmaceutical and medical device industries, but many of them also are food producers and exporters, consumer products of all stripes, educational transcripts, and any industry that requires documentary authentication for global business. So that's basically what we do. We have extended to all of our fellow members of the chamber a discount. And I think the hardest part of my job sometimes seems to be hiring social media companies, because you have to explain to them what we do and ask them to promote that once they've integrated all that information into their heads. So with that, I would invite questions, and thank you for inviting me to present today.
Thank you. And you also work with some really large manufacturers, and so that's a key part of your outreach as well. Does anybody have any questions for Mitchell?
I have a question. Mitchell, do you also work with individuals that need to apostille their documents?
Yes, we do. Our wheelhouse is, I like to say, we're a very small company that has extremely large customers, global brands, some of the most recognizable global brands, but we also, on a steady stream and as a regular matter, we do receive online orders from individuals, and that is a component of our business model as well. So yes.
Great. And do you do apostilles for federal agencies?
Yes, most of the documents we have apostilled or legalized come from the FDA. So they're FDA-generated documents that we then run through the state authorities, the U.S. State Department, and then if it's a legalization, of course, through the embassy.
All right. Well, I'll connect with you because I have a need for one document.
Okay, excellent. We look forward.
Yeah.
One leads to two. Anita, you have your hand raised. Thank you. What's your question?
Quick question. So it's water under the bridge now, but it could happen again. What types of difficulties do you encounter, or do you have a better chance of getting things done if we're in another situation where there's a pandemic? Because I know a lot of people that were trying to get stuff apostillado during the pandemic, and like nobody was open to even apostille them.
Well, this is actually huge because the U.S. State Department, which authenticates the majority of the documents that we need authenticated, that's the authority that we require approval from. With the pandemic, they greatly extended their turnaround time. And this, in fact, and quite frankly, became a pain point for our entire customer portfolio. So we lobbied them, and they reduced that turnaround time significantly. But now it has ballooned again. About 6 months ago, I want to say, maybe a little more than that, they had a huge surge of passport applications and passport renewal applications. And it's the same Office of Authentication at the State Department that does that work and our work, our document work. So right now, we're still working with our U.S. Senator here in Maryland to really get them to reopen the drop-off window at the State Department and to reduce their turnaround time. But yes, the pandemic has substantially affected what we do for that very reason.
Thanks.
Great question. Any other questions, please? And hearing none, I'm not sure what to do now because we lost Beatrice and I don't see Yvonne in the call. Cesar, turn it over to your thoughts. Am I missing someone? I may not be seeing the whole group.
No, I don't see Beatriz either. And I don't have
Okay.
any from her.
Okay. So maybe Beatrice will
But
come back.
she's connecting. She's connecting now.
Oh, there she is. Okay. So we'll in the meantime, while Beatrice is connecting, I'd like to do a shout out to Brian McKay. I now recognize you. I re-met you last night at the summit, so thank you. I subsequently kind of maybe crazy. It was late in the evening in Phoenix. I made the decision to drive back to LA last night. So it was a little bit challenging, but so I'm a little bit tired, but I'm okay. So thank you for coming out. Appreciate you connecting up. You met Laura Myers there last night. So Laura, thank you also for coming out to the Innovation Summit. Beatrice, are you there?
I'm here. Sorry, guys. I
Yeah.
was speaking alone. Technology sometimes don't help.
No worries. We have a few minutes. Would you like to finish your presentation?
Okay, let me.
Or just
repeat.
let us know
Yeah.
more about who you'd like to meet and how we can help.
Exactly. Let me just say that. So basically, our company, as I say, is focused on services for quality assurance, industrial microbiology, open innovation, and coaching. So we are looking for third-party manufacturers, companies that want to enter into a market in Latin America, trying to understand good manufacturing practices requirements and how to deal with those requirements at the different countries. The industries are cosmetics, hygienic, pharma, and household care products. So whatever that if you have clients in those areas, we can provide help on that. So we don't need to share. I don't know who is sharing, but I think it's better to move to the questions if possible.
Yep.
And we can move to the last slide with the connection, with the connecting information.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. What questions do people have? Just go ahead, please. So in terms of companies that you're looking for, they're typically pretty complex manufacturing companies, and they typically have registration issues and those kinds of challenges, and they be in Latin America somewhere.
Yeah, and not only registration, you know, the common problems associated with microbial contamination, no? That could be at the water purification systems or at the raw material supplier area, or doing the quality control in the laboratories. They need to be sure they don't have microbial contaminations, and they need to have all these processes integrated into the business in all areas. So we do have plenty of experience doing this kind of processes and integration. And we also qualify teams that are in charge of those processes.
Fantastic. Beatrice is a great example of the kinds of questions we get every day at Global Chamber, and we can pretty much answer every question. Like I have, whatever the need is, we have a member or someone we can refer to help your business. So I encourage you all, if you're stuck, you've got a problem, just reach out and ask. We're going to be trying to make that a lot easier this year with our new app. And so watch for more information on that in the coming months to be able to allow you to do that real time right now, to be able to connect up with people that you want to be able to connect up with. And other than, like, my son-in-law always posts in Twitter, or usually in Twitter, and there's one other app that he typically does. And I look at the answers he's getting, and it's like, oh my God, they're terrible. No, I mean, some of them are good, but that's the kind of thing that we can do quite easily. We have 5 minutes left, and so I'd like to open up the floor, and we'll finish up with Cesar kind of wrapping up and also talking about our next program. But does anybody else have anything that they would like to share? Any opportunities? Maybe a 30 to 60 second. Hi, I've got this, or hi, I know about this. Please go ahead. Most of you are members. We talked earlier
just
about
had a quick question. I had a quick question for Beatriz, real quick for Beatriz. How long do you typically work with a company? Like, is it, you get them their stuff in order and you're done, or do you stay on and monitor them, or is it a combination?
It depend on the need. For example, I have one client that they want to train their site microbiologists in clean design and water purification system. So we do have a training for those purposes, and we can train a person or a full team, including the operators for that. Also, they have a problem to solve related to contamination in a particular part of the system. So we enable them, we help them during the investigation process to understand the root cause, and we also provide solutions that are cost effective to be able to solve the contamination and also to prevent contamination in the following, when they restart the process. So that's the type of things. Similar to one of our partners that recently present, we have a full set of solutions that are going to be adapted to the client needs. Okay, so we will be able to be there assisting the whole process or just guiding their teams to solve the process. Right?
Thank you very much. Shout out also to Bill Foch, who's here. Hey, Chris, great to see you as well. I saw Mijong in the room earlier. I think you guys met up at the CES show in Las Vegas. It looked like an amazing program. Joanne Tan, she's a new member and she helps with brand building. And so definitely connect up with Joanna and learn more about what she's doing. I think I said Joanna, but I meant Joanne. So sorry about that. Nihi Sanusi is in Africa, and definitely somebody, if you're doing business in Africa, get to know Nihi, who's our advisory board chair for Lagos. Peter, great to see you, and your membership renewal came through. Yay, congratulations. So that's awesome. We mentioned both Phillips earlier. Rob Arthur's in Canada. Thank you for joining today. Appreciate all the work that you're doing. Terry, global advisor in Salt Lake City, and the work that you're doing for entrepreneurs in Utah. Thank you for joining as well. Cesar, what else would you like to wrap up with? And let's close the room.
Thank you, Doug, and thanks everyone who presented today. I put the link to our calendar in the chat, but just to summarize, we have as Doug mentioned, you have the second part of the League of Opportunities today. It's going to be with companies in Asia. So we're going to have Colin Christie from the Philippines, from the Global Chamber of Manila in the Philippines. We're going to have Matthew in Japan, and we're going to have a company in Sydney. So if any of you, as Yuka in Barcelona said yesterday, that she might be, ending her Friday night with a League of Opportunities. So if you see that as a possibility, feel free to join us. Then next week we have the monthly India meetup with our Indian team there. We have the event with Anita on import-export, and we have the League of Extraordinaries, and in the last week we have the event in French, the event in Spanish, and the Women Online Networking. So a lot of things going on this month. And if you want, as Doug mentioned, if you want to connect with any of the members who spoke today, feel free to reach out. Elisa will be sharing the recording along with some of the presentations as well. Thanks again.
The one speaker we didn't get to was Yvonne Huaraque. She is with RIN. They're based in Lima, Peru, and that's important for many reasons, but next year's APEC event is in Lima. And so Mijong Hibbets and I were chatting about that yesterday, getting our chapter there fully back up with Marco and reaching out. And funny that somebody last night mentioned about a really good connection with Marco Gomez Barrio, our global advisor for Lima, Peru. So we're going to be doing some things next year at the APEC in Peru. So if that is of interest to you, the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, please let us know. Thank you for joining. Hope to see you in what, 7 hours for the next part 2 for League of Opportunities, if that can work with your schedule. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Be global and unstoppable. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Have a great weekend.